Hello and welcome to another episode of Celebrating Southbridge. My name is Ron Sanangelo and I'm your town manager. And today we're going to be talking about the issue of recreation and the programs we run right here in the town of Southbridge for our children. I have a special guest today. Steve Roenfeldt is our recreation director. And we're going to talk about the current status of our parks, things that are happening in town, and what you can do to participate in a recreation program here in town. So Steve, first of all, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, it's great to have you because we talk a lot about different things that are happening in town, and we want to get the message out to the general citizenry about the things that are going on. So first, I guess the first thing to do is, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what does the recreation director do in general here in town?
Well, a lot of different jobs. It's actually a little bit beyond simply recreation, but in terms of the exact recreation tasks that I kind of am in charge of is overseeing the facilities that we have. We have a huge number of parks and recreation areas, and I make sure that they're all the users, so places, groups like the Little League and the Soccer Association, that they have their fields reserved. I'm kind of the mediation person between user groups, citizens, and the DPW, so I kind of take care of any tasks or needs that need to be done with our fields as best to my ability, as well as work on programming. So we have things like the summer recreation program for kids between the ages of 5 and 11. We have our weekly summer concert series from June to October, and I am in charge of all of those type of programmings, as well as just making partnerships with other groups. So, for example, a good example of that is right now we're running a basketball program at Morris Street, and this is a program that was started by a former middle school teacher here in Southbridge. And when I find out about things like that, I try to partner with organizations to give them an extra hand and make them a more successful program. So right now it's called the Each One Teach One program, and it's a basketball program for high school students. And they play games twice a week during the summer and have a tournament at the end. So I try to partner with different organizations to kind of help in whatever way the town can to make their programs more successful.
You know, it was interesting, when I came to Southbridge, I was kind of surprised, right? Because when I started talking about recreation director, I'm used to, for decent-sized communities like this town, there's usually a full-time recreation director and they're tied in with DPW. You're a part-time employee, is that correct?
That's correct. I work 20 hours a week. Well, at least I'm paid for 20 hours a week. I try to make sure to honor my own time as well, but I do fit in a lot of time in that 20 hours, that's for sure.
And budget, I mean, I think people in Southbridge would be surprised to learn what the recreation department budget here is in town. So why don't you tell them what the recreation department budget is?
I not to complain, but I don't work with very much. Most of the budget is to pay for my time to coordinate all of these things. We do have some money for some of the programs and a little bit of the field work, and a lot of it is tied into other departments, so I have to work with a lot of other departments. So a lot of the fixes, for example, for recreation facilities, that comes out of the DPW funds, but I help coordinate it. So in that way, my budget is stretched because a lot of departments help me out. But a lot of it has to do with fundraising too. So, we have a 15 performance concert series that runs from January culminating to October 2nd with an Oktoberfest. That is fully funded by the community itself and not town budget money.
So, I know that the citizens here in Southbridge love to go to those community concerts, right? And it is important. So tell us a little bit about the concerts. Like, do you know some of the ones that are coming up shortly, and how do they work? I think they're on Sundays, right?
Yeah, so our concerts are always on Sundays. From 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, always on the Common, unless it's raining or there's a thunderstorm. Then we move to the old high school on 24 or 25 Cole Ave and go in the old high school auditorium. But every week we have a great band. We try to, very intentionally, try to search out different styles of music because we know we have a very diverse community. We want to have a diverse lineup of bands, so it's not always the same style of music. So we really try to highlight different genres and things like that. Some of the ones that are coming up, this most upcoming Sunday, is a band called 1974, and they're out of Hartford. And they were just named by Hartford Magazine the best band in Hartford for 2016. So I have intentionally tried to get more regional acts, or a lot of regional acts, to really highlight great music and get people to really come out, because the talent is quite there. So the band that we had a couple weeks ago, they were New England Music Festival's best band. So really high quality shows.
Now, just because I'm not sure when this show is going to be live, you're talking about this Sunday. What's that? The 23rd?
That's the 23rd.
So it's going to be this week.
Yeah.
So hopefully this show
yeah.
gets on for that band.
So, yeah, and if you missed that one, you missed it. That's okay.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones coming up, we have a couple singer-songwriter groups. So more kind of a mellow, acoustical music coming ones. Mark Mandeville and Rayanne Richards, great band. They're town favorites. They play at the library often. They played in our concert series last year. Phenomenal duo that brings a couple other musicians with them. We have a kind of a comedic duo. There's some mostly local guys, and they do acoustical covers with a humorous twist. So they kind of rewrite songs or kind of mess with the lyrics a little bit to make them funnier and more, eye-catching. We have a folk trio coming called the Coteries. They're coming in a couple weeks. A really great band from Massachusetts. We have a salsa band coming in August. The Edwin Pabon Salsa Band. It's a fantastic show. They're wonderful musicians. They even, during kind of the intermission, do a little bit of salsa teaching, so they try to get people to learn a little bit of salsa, and all the people who participated in the gala and those lessons can bring and show off their salsa skills.
There you go. That's what we want to do.
And that's August 28th.
So let's be clear that every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. at our Commons, and for those people, I think most people know, the Commons is literally right in front of the Southbridge Hotel and Convention Center. There's a beautiful piece of land there. We have a gazebo. And so it's 4 to 6 every Sunday for the next...
Every Sunday until October 2nd.
Till October 2nd.
Yeah.
And then, do people bring blankets down? Do they bring food? It seems to me to be kind of a fun gathering and a lot of relaxing night.
We try to make it very family friendly, all ages kind of stuff. We encourage people to bring lawn chairs, picnic blankets. We try to have a food vendor, ice cream truck there if we can, but it's up to those guys, those vendors to come. Sponsors often bring, so all of these shows, like I said, are brought to you by organizations around town.
Tell us about some of those organizations, because we have these great businesses in town.
Yeah.
People don't realize, particularly a lot of the manufacturers and the banks, they really step up to the plate to make this a community-friendly kind of town. So let's take a minute and give an idea to some of these sponsors. Tell me some of the types of businesses.
So, like you said, the banks, they're always willing to put back into our community. So the last show we just had, Southbridge Savings Bank was the sponsor. The very first one was Savers Bank. They bring prizes and things like that. Last week they were giving out popcorn. Our manufacturer, so United Lens, is the top giver in our concert series, and always pretty much has been. So wonderfully generous. United Lens is wonderful in that they are pretty hands off. They're not selling things at United Lens, but they want to contribute back to our community. So they write a check and say, pick some good bands, and hope you have fun, Southbridge. And we also have other, and it's not just all. Harrington Hospital's another one. I'm afraid I can't think of every single one. I'm going to forget somebody. But yeah, it's these great organizations, the big ones, but it's also small ones. So Sturbridge Coffee Roasters over on Hamilton, Cormier Jewelers, they don't sponsor a whole show, but they do contribute. They put in, just a little bit of, a good amount of money, and that helps pay for things too. It helps pay for the promotions of the series and things like that.
Yep. So if I'm a citizen out there and I'm watching this show, where do I see the concert schedule?
So there's a number of different places that you can find it. The recreation page is a great resource. The town's recreation page, which is the town website /recreation, and there you can find information. I'm very on top of the amount of information that's on there, so I'm always updating and things like that. We run a Facebook page, so Southbridge Recreation. If you are on the Facebook, you can click on Southbridge Recreation and click on the events and get a listing of every single event, a description of the band, and links to the music. They're in the Southbridge Evening News, so there'll be a listing each week of what the upcoming band is. On the Rotary, there's a concert sign. So each week that gets updated with the new band and who's sponsoring it. We have a sign on Central Street. A few years back, someone painted a wonderful mural of the bandstand. And that's another sign that gets changed every week to update what's kind of coming up. And then obviously anyone can call the recreation office and get some information. Leave a message. I'm not there very often. I'm out and about the town, and again, I only work 20 hours, so I don't answer the phone frequently, but I always return my phone call, so I will get the information.
And you can also find the information. Southbridge Town Hall also has a Facebook page, and if you look at some of the things underneath, you'll see a concert schedule there as well. We want you to be able to participate as citizens. Come down and share the community atmosphere with us.
Yeah.
Right down in the Commons. It's a beautiful Commons, and it's a lot of fun. It's great to see the kids running around too.
Oh, and it's great. I mean, I bring, so every Sunday afternoon before the show, I take my car to our the recreation shed, and I load it up with games and toys. So we have slackline, hula hoops, soccer balls, parachutes, frisbees. We have all kinds of things that make it fun for the kids. We bring chalk so the kids can color on the sidewalks while the music's playing. A lot of great stuff that happens again, and it's for all ages. And it's one of those things that it's all about atmosphere. So even if you don't like the genre of music, it's still about being part of the community and just enjoying the music, or enjoying the talking with friends and meeting up with family and that kind of stuff.
So let's talk. I'm going to get into some of the specific parks to talk about them, right? Where there's been a lot of discussion, and we've tried to make a lot of improvements over at the Henry Street Park and over at Joe Capillo Park, right? And I know when I first went over that, I was a little frustrated because the park is pretty old. I mean, it needs a lot of updating, and in all honesty, it could use a real complete overhaul. But in looking at it, I went to town council and I got $25,000 to at least temporarily make some repairs and fix up that park. So first of all, it seems to me that it's probably one of the most populated parks in terms of usage. It seems like it has heavy usage, mostly in the Henry Street Park, but also in the Joe Capillo Park, right? Tell me a little bit about that park.
Well, actually, before I even go there, Southbridge is blessed with lots of parks, but they're also old parks, and they're really coming to a time where, they need a lot of repair. They're starting to look they're not looking as nice as they could be, and so Henry Street, or also known as McCann Fields, as well as Joe Capillo Park, is a prime example of great parks that have just seen better days, but we are really trying to get those back up and going. So one of the big things that we've done in the first kind of phase of that money, if you will, has been to refurbish the skate park, which we're now calling an action sports park, simply because skate park implies that only skateboarders are there, but we have skateboarders, we have scooters, and we have BMX bicycles. So we're going to call it an action sports park because everyone's invited. But that was our first priority because we had a citizen who really wanted to put some time and put some effort into helping out. And he approached the rec department, and I said, yes, I got the money, I got the resources, I don't have the people. And if you have some people, we just designated this money, let's get some things done. And so it went from him thinking he would just kind of give it a little paint job and put a couple screws back in, to really refurbishing it to where it should be. And that was really needed because it was at a point where we had to decide if we were going to trash them because they were unsafe, or if we really wanted to keep them as a valuable asset to our town. And in my opinion, it was a good asset and it was a good investment, because if you go there now, when school is in session, after school, 10, 20, 30 kids are there. Now it's summertime. Throughout the day, kids are, I'm not going to say kids, people, because it's not just for kids, it's for people of all ages. And our recreation stuff is for all ages. But we like to say kids because that's who we're really wanting to get out and giving them opportunities. But there's lots of people there, and it feels vibrant, and it looks, and the amazing thing is now that there's more people there, there's less trash. We repainted that park about 2 months ago. We started about 3 months ago. not a single thing has been graffitied in that amount of time. So now that we've kind of shown we'll take care of them, if you take care of them, people are stepping up, and that's a wonderful thing.
So today is July 21st as we tape this show. It's a Thursday. And there was an event held over at Joe Capillo Park. And we were trying to highlight the skateboarding park and how nice it is and getting kids involved. And the Cops and Kids program was involved in it today. They had lunches there for the kids. There was a show put on by some of the higher quality skateboarders and BMX riders. It was great to highlight the park and to show kids that the parks belong to them. We fix these parks up and we give it to them to use, and they need to take care of it. But what we're hearing is that because we invest in that park, because we've upgraded it, we're seeing less damage, less vandalism, and people are taking some pride in that park. Is that pretty true?
Yeah, and in conversations with DPW, they were in charge of kind of the litter pickup on a weekly basis. They've seen a huge decrease in the amount of litter. People are using the trash cans more. So it's a really great thing. And we're hoping to, this isn't just the park that we're going to do this with. We want to expand that to all our parks. And so, with the McCann Fields have been, they're well taken care of because we have some really good users in terms of the Southbridge Little League is wonderful. The Southbridge Softball Association is wonderful, and they take a lot of pride in those parks. So they've done a good job of keeping them up, but they've been, the age is starting to show, especially on the playground and things like that. And so, we're starting to spruce them up. We're trying to make them as safe as possible. So we haven't talked about our Adopt a Park program. We're going to talk about that really soon. And but there's been Bay Path Vocational High School has adopted the playground area and the basketball area and has done some work. It's the summertime, so there's a lull there. But as soon as school starts, you're gonna see some even more improvements.
So let's talk about what they did do so far, though, right? So we had I don't know what the name of it these days. It's almost like a monkey bars. It's kind of a round monkey bars thing. And I see
geocidic dome.
Geocidic dome.
Yeah, or geocidic play structure, yeah.
Well, it's a place for kids to climb all over the bars and everything else. And they cleaned that all up. We framed it all out. And we put the wood chips all underneath and made it a lot safer for the children.
Yep.
I know in another playground area they did the same thing. They framed it out. They cleaned it up. They put some wood chips. And we're still looking at trying to remove some of the old graffiti. Next, they've already started to sand some of the swing set, and the next step hopefully is when we can get them back to paint that and again box that out. So that's part of the changes that the Adopt a Park program and Bay Path have been in, and I mean it's really nice. These are students from Bay Path who are essentially volunteering their time, and the director's there to improve that park. I think that's tremendous.
Yeah, and it's been great because safety standards change over time, and so we're really working to improve the safety of all our parks, and so that's where those wood chips come in. Yep. Those are playground grade wood chips. So other than really very expensive, turf sponge flooring, it's the best thing for safety. It's a great cushion, and we're trying to build up those cushions. And so they've been framing those playground areas to increase that, which is really great. And we've done that to a couple other parks as well.
That park is old, and it really is. And I go through there and I see things we can do. The fence was all messed up, and it turned sideways. And actually, I think one of our new council members, Mark, and I don't remember his last name.
DePietro,
his company came in and fixed a lot of that for free, straightened out the fences. So appreciation to Mark and his company for doing that. I know that the leagues and stuff use that, and I know one of the things I've been kind of complaining about is that in that baseball field, there's a wood fence on the outside. It's all peeling paint and everything. I would love, if you're listening to me, some of the guys on the Southbridge the softball league to see if you can help us out. Maybe donate a few bucks and to fix that part of the fence out there. Maybe spend $500 or $600, get some wood and make that fence look nice. I guess what I'm saying is that of all the users of the park, if we all got together, we could really make that park special again. Yeah, you know what? We're never going to make it brand new, but there's a lot of improvements we can do that just really take some. It
takes effort. It just takes a little bit of effort, and our DPW is strapped, and I work 20 hours a week. And I'm the only recreation staff whatsoever. So, the more we can work together, the more we can improve the quality of all our recreation facilities, which is why I brought in the Adopt a Park program. So, if what that is organizations, whether it's a business organization, whether it's a private citizen who just likes the park and enjoys the park and wants to see it done, wants to see it look its best, or whether it's a user organization like the Soccer Association or the Little League or any other, the Softball Association, those groups have an opportunity to kind of sign on and just make a commitment to say we're gonna put some time in, and some of these groups already do.
Yep.
So I'm not trying to negate that this wasn't being done, but it's just putting it together and saying we're all committing together. We're gonna, the recreation and the DPW department is gonna commit some resources to you. If you are willing to commit some time and some volunteer hours to us, and we can work together to make these parks better.
We talked about some of the great companies in this town, United Lens and A&M Tool and Hyde Tool. There's just so many great companies here in town, Harrington Hospital. And we're saying to you too, listen, I don't know how familiar you are with the Adopt a Park program, but we're looking at your organization to take over one of the parks and do, frankly, light maintenance to the park. Well, help us spread wood chips and maybe do some painting out at the parks, or help us fix a fence, or get some nets fixed, or whatever it might be. So if you're a business or you're an organization out there and you see this show and you want to adopt a park, maybe one that's next to your business, and help us spruce it up and make it look nicer, we'd love to have you on board. And again, we know you're stretched for a lot of things. We know everybody's asking you for things. But if it's something you want to do with your employees and them go out and mow and rake and clean, we would love to have you. We're also willing to put up a nameplate saying that, Harrington Hospital adopted this park, give you some credit, because we really appreciate all the efforts that you do to really make this town nice. So I appreciate the Adopt a Park program was something we talked about when I first came in.
Yep.
I think it's been a success so far.
It's been a
But
success,
it's got more work to do.
We have more work to do, and we're still in the process of getting up all the signs for the adoptees that already have adopted a park. And I mentioned Joe Capillo Action Sports Park. That was just a private citizen. He has a group of volunteers. His name is Aaron Rozo, and he created a group called Planet Aaron, and it's a group of his friends and companions that are really doing it. And they did a complete renovation. But that's not what we're asking for adoptee groups. We have the Cub Scout troop that meets at the Catholic Church. They come once a week or once a month. They've adopted Morris Street Playground. They come once a month. They pull weeds. They pick up trash. They sweep up the basketball court. It can be just as simple as that. But that's little things that the DPW can work on, patching streets instead of pulling weeds out of the playground equipment.
So I tell you, there's a park out there, and I'm going to kind of throw it out there because I thought it was pretty fascinating. As I came into town, I explored all the different parks because I'm a big believer in improving recreation opportunities, particularly for our young adults and children in town. And there was a place called the Res, and I heard the history on it, and oh my God, everybody in town seems to have a memory of hanging out at the Res when they were a kid. It used to be a swimming hole, is what it used to be. And it's still a beautiful park, and it's closed in the summertime. And if it snows, they open up, and there's a group that does ice skating and stuff out there and has some equipment. But boy, that would be a place that I would love to see some business sink their teeth into that, renovate that park, and bring it back to the community in summertime. Maybe put up some park bench, plant flowers all through it. We talked about maybe putting some kind of aerator in the water to have like a shower or whatever you might call it, a fountain in there. I would love it if some business or some organization would want to get back in, and I would be more than willing to open it up if we can make it attractive to people.
Yeah, and the group that you're talking about is they're known as the Friends of the Res, and they're the ones who are in charge of the winter ice skating, which in the past, ever since I've been the recreation director, we haven't had Mother Nature cooperate. So we haven't been able to open and offer that in the past 2 winters, which has been kind of sad because it is a great facility, and I'm sure they would love to partner with an organization that can put in a little bit of something and really get that thing going. But that's one of our eyesights, and it's a long process because it would be wonderful if all our parks all of a sudden were just transformed all at one time. But realistically, it's okay to we take them a park at a time, but just know that the more people who sign up, the more we can coordinate, the more we work together, the more our parks are going to get to the point.
I'll give you an example. There's a little tiny park on Main Street, and we recently cleaned it up some, and we put down wood chips on it. It almost looks like it belongs to the houses because it's a very small park. And I think what happened is there was a house there at the time, ripped down the house, and they built a little park.
We have a number of playgrounds that were demolitions of properties, and then we got some grant money to put in playgrounds. And that particular playground has been adopted by the Rotary, and we're working with them to get some more projects going, as well as working to get some more signage. Because yeah, when I moved to town, I just assumed that. I mean, I drove down Main Street. I was like, oh, there's a playground. Oh, but it's own. That must be for that the apartment building right there. And I was like, oh wait, that's town property. So we're working to build signage. I just actually put a bunch of signage on Lower West Street. Fields, which is a great field. Our nicest and newest playground is at Lower West Street. And so each park we're trying to focus, and I'm getting more and more signage around town to indicate that these are our parks. These are things that we want to back up and take care of.
We ordered all new signs too that we got coming in for Henry Street Park. So there's no parking signs and stuff that look like they were there 100 years ago. They're old or worn out.
Brand new ones. They're sitting in my car. Actually, they just need to go to the DPW.
So I know you just got them in order, man. We're going to be putting new signs around Henry Street Park, and we want to put some community signs about the parks belong to you, the Southbridge residents and the Southbridge children. The parks they're town parks, but the town is you, the taxpayer of the town. So we want people to know that it's part of your responsibility to take care of them and help us improve them and make them look nicer. So we'll be putting up those signs as well soon to make that nicer. We've also had some, to be honest, we've had some help from our prisoners. The sheriff in the area had some of his prisoners come up and do some work at the parks in the early summer. So that was also, I want to thank the sheriff's office for doing that as well.
Brought a crew for a week, and they kind of got actually the ball rolling, if you will, on a lot of these adopt-a-park pieces. So some of the things the projects we had lined up for ideas for adopt-a-park, they were able to start and get some of those things going. And with the signage, one big improvement that I think you're going to see in some of the park signage is I've added, it's a great point that these are all of our parks. So when they're all of our parks, we want to not only take care of them, but kind of help watch over them. So the police have stepped up patrols, and they've tried to be at the parks more often, which is really great. But it also takes citizens, calling things out. And one big thing that you're going to see as signs pop up is that there's information. There's going to be there's phone numbers. So, if you see an issue, if you see a problem, if you see something that's dangerous or not going well in a park, there's a couple numbers to call. Not emergency numbers, but there's the rec department's phone number will be there. So if you see an issue with a damage, or you need something addressed or want something addressed, you can call us and we can work something. There's also the non-emergency police phone number. So it's okay to call them and say, hey, I'm here at this park and this person's doing this. Can you please send someone over?
It was interesting when I had toured Henry Street Park and Joe Capillo Park. I got a lot of, well, if you fix it up, they're just going to rip it down. And I looked at the parks and I said, you know what? I don't see. Yes, there's some vandalism. To me, it was kind of minor in nature, some graffiti, but really what I saw was just old. Just worn out, just stuff that should be replaced. And I got to tell you, it's hard to take pride in a park that looks horrible, that isn't fixed up, that is old, it is worn out. People don't care as much because it looks dumpy. So the more we fix up the parks, the more pride people take in those parks, and the more they're kind of willing to pick up their own litter. I think when you see something clean, you don't want to dirty it. It's just the way it is. So it was great to see all different parts of our community at Henry Street Park. Tremendous amount of the Latino population, the young kids were down there, white population, all different nationalities were together in that community atmosphere down there. And I really love the investment in that area because I think it's critical to bring people together in this community. And I know that the sheriff or the police chief is also working to make sure that his department ties into that community as well, so that we're all working together on the same path, right? Isn't that really what this is about? It's about the parks. It's still bringing the community together, right?
I mean, we have these parks. I mean, a lot of people don't actually realize that some of the surrounding communities envy our park system in the sense that we have so many facilities. Now, again, it's a blessing and a curse in the sense that we have so many, so it's hard to keep up with all of the many facilities that we have. But at the same time, if we band together, we can have a great park system.
It's sad because the town only has a certain amount of resources. We have to be really concerned about spending tax dollars,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we also want to provide good quality services. So we have a very limited parks budget to maintain parks, and it's sad because they do get old, they do deteriorate, and then customers, their citizens lose the benefit of going to them. But I went to a park, and you're going to have to help me on the name. I went to the park, and around the park was this beautiful kind of walking path, and it had, a wooden kind of structure around that walking path. It really was beautiful. Do you know what I'm talking? Which one I'm talking about? It has a sort of a wood. It almost looks like a patio kind of thing that goes out in the woods.
Oh, you're talking along the river.
Along the river, yeah.
So that's one of that is a hidden gem.
Yeah, what's the name of that park?
Southbridge. It's called the Heritage Trail.
Yeah.
And it's just off what we call the lower West Street fields. So if you're at West Street Elementary School, there's the upper fields, which have baseball fields.
Yep.
Behind is the tennis courts, and then to the right and down the hill are soccer and field hockey fields, and a brand new new playground last year. And then just beyond the playing fields is the Heritage Trail, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's down the river. It's ADA certified, so you can take a wheelchair, you can take a stroller down it. There's multiple platforms, if platform structures. There's benches, and it's just a wonderful, nice place, and it connects the ADA piece. The wheelchair certification ends at a certain point, so you can't connect all the way to Westville if you're in a wheelchair. But for those folks who can walk, you can connect all the way to Westville, go all the way around Westville, and come back, and it's a wonderful walking opportunity. And I want to take it. That's the Trails Committee, so they do a great job of maintaining it. So our Southbridge Trails Committee does the mowing, they do the litter pickup and all that kind of stuff to keep it nice.
You're right. It's a hidden gem. Give me because this is going to want to know how to find that park, right? So how do you find it?
Yep. So as you pull into the parking lot of West Street Elementary School, you go down the driveway splits, so you can go to the left to the school or to the right down the hill. You go right down the hill, there's a parking area there. You'll see a field in front of you, a playground in front of you. You walk to the right of the field. You'll follow their signs, actually, that kind of highlight the history of that whole area. And then you'll see a ramp, an ADA ramp. So it's a railinged ramp that takes a lot of big curves on it. Okay. And that goes down to the river, and then you're on the trail. And then that trail goes towards Westville along the river. Eventually you'll see that the trail narrows and gets more like a hiking trail.
It's not a long trail, though. It's not.
No,
it's pretty short, but it's
just
a beautiful
under a mile.
walk.
Yeah,
just under a mile, but it's a pretty walk.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, and it's right by the river. It's cool in the summertime. It's much cooler because you're close to the water. It's shaded the whole time. So, I tell people, and I'm amazed at how many people have lived here for 10, 20 years and either don't know about it or they knew about it, but they've never actually gone. It's definitely worth going to.
Now, you talked a little bit about the field behind the Armory, the Morris Street field, I believe, is it?
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about Morris Street. Morris Street is a pretty basic kind of field over there, but it's pretty good size, too, for kids to play softball or whatever.
It's a good area. There's two softball / t-ball fields, so the Little League uses it for t-ball during their season, and then the Soccer Association uses it for the little kids in the fall. And then it's also open for other uses. It's a nice, great field, so it's a great place. I go there with my kids and we throw discs, frisbee discs there, and has a playground and a basketball court. Basketball court, like I said, has been being used right now for our Each One Teach One program. So it's a very good, great park. I think in its heyday, it was even more expensive. I think the recreation program was actually run through that building. There's a little field house there that the program used to be run out of. But it's one of those things where, it's one of those fields that is in good condition, but it could be in a much better condition. Yeah. So it's not used enough to keep the weeds out. So like right now, the weeds are just coming in onto the infields of the baseball fields, and we just can't keep on top of it. Right. And so another great example of someone just saying, you know what, I can once a month come and just take my spade or whatever, and I can chop out those weeds and get them off the baseball field. So, again, you don't have to be a big organization. If you have a day of the month that you can come out and just chop weeds out of a baseball field, you can adopt that one field, and it's a huge benefit.
So at Morris Street Park, we're going to be doing a food program up there, and I understand in Southbridge we have some poor people that need help, and during the summertime we want to make sure that those children have lunch and get some food in their bodies, and that they have some positive things to do. So I know you guys are working with cops and kids. And in some of the churches, I know your wife is involved in the churches, and you're trying to work to develop a summer food program along with activities. Why don't you tell the people of Southbridge a little bit about that, how they sign up, what kind of activities you're expecting, what's the general time frame, what that's all about, this summer food program.
Yeah, so actually this was mostly, this was the church's thing in the sense, and we as cops and kids and the recreation department were kind of invited in because they found out that that we as a community during summer school, during Cops and Kids program, and during the summer recreation program, we provide lunch. Cops and Kids provides breakfast as well. But as soon as those programs end, between that time of the programs ending and the time school starts, the summer feeding program is greatly reduced. And so I was just talking about it with my wife, who happens to be a pastor, and she said, well, is there anything we can do about, can my church do something about that? And she got together with a couple of other churches in the area, both in Southbridge as well as here in Southbridge. And they said, well, okay, we got some volunteers, how can we help? And so what they did was they talked to the school, and the school was able to say, yeah, we can expand our feeding program.
So let me cut that off for a minute. Kudos to our new state receiver, Jessica, who went out of her way to make sure that this program continued for those kids that really need the help in the summertime, and to make sure that there's food available. So really, it's another one of those things where the town and the school system have really partnered up, working together. So I think our school superintendent, or receiver is the appropriate name, deserves a lot of credit for making that continue.
Yeah, and the churches reached out to both you and Jessica, and it was great to see such a positive response. And then, so they're going to continue that feeding program. So basically it's going to go until August 25th. We'll have it both inside and outside, so the community center as well as Morris Street fields. And we realized that, it's great to provide a lunch, but we also want to provide something for kids to do. It's one thing to go just get your belly, get a lunch and then go home, but still be, in a situation where you don't have anything to do, or you could be causing trouble, if you will. So we're providing some programming as well. So for all ages, from 5 years old to 18 years old, we'll have some stuff going on. So between Cops and Kids and the rec program, we're going to have some games, activities.
Okay. How do we sign up, Steve? How do we get people to sign up? To come to the summertime fun, get some food in their bodies? I think you're talking about 11:30 to... Yeah, we're talking 11:30 to 1. In terms of the actual sign-ups, that hasn't been worked out because we just got the site. Okay. So we were unsure as of a couple days ago of where this was even going to be. And so the sign-ups are very coming soon. Cops and Kids will post it on their Facebook page. I'll post it on the rec Facebook page. We'll post it on the town web page. We'll post it on the town Facebook page. So that information will be there. We just need we have a few more finalized details that we just need to work out. But very soon, like within a week. First, I want to thank you for this. I know that this is not your specific program, but you've been a tremendous supporter to keep it up and running and keep it going. I know I talked to Jose, the leader of our Cops and Kids program, and for you people out there that don't understand, our police department goes out of its way to deal with summer programs for our children. It's called Cops and Kids, and they create activities for the kids to do to make them enjoy their summer. And it's a lot of volunteer efforts by Jose, our deputy police chief, and a lot of his officers. And frankly, it builds character in these kids and gives them a positive thing to do to stay out of trouble. And
it's
just
a
great.
Program.
It's just great. Yeah, just great. So we're going to close this pretty shortly. So I want to talk about, is there any other parks? I know you got West Street and other than. Are there any other parks you want to talk about that are something that the citizens should go and check out and try out? What other parks might there be that we should highlight today?
Well, in terms of parks, we have a lot of really nice playgrounds that don't get used as much as they probably should. We're working to highlight those as well as continually improve them. I want to give a shout out to the Trails Committee. I don't think people realize how many wonderful trails we have in and around Southbridge. We already talked about the Heritage Trail. There's the Cole Forest Trail, which is just right outside of the community center. You can park at the community center and walk a great trail up the hill. We have some partnerships that do some great trails, like the Opacum Land Trust that works with the town and works with the Trails Committee to provide some wonderful trails out on Route 169 south of town. So that's a great one. So just the hiking trails, and again, if you come to the Southbridge Rec page, I give there's links to all of those different places. Yeah.
Well, Steve, I got to close it up. I want to thank you really for all the work that you're doing on behalf of the town. And I want to say to people out in Southbridge is that, the name of this show is Celebrating Southbridge. And truthfully, we have a lot to celebrate. And one of those things is that we have, parks and playgrounds and places to go that people can use that frankly essentially are part of your tax dollars at work. And we encourage you to get involved. We encourage you to help us improve them because it's important to myself and to Steve and to cops and kids and churches and particularly to our town council that our community continues to have these nice assets to use and benefits us. And we're looking to do those positive things. And it takes team effort. I mean, it's not everybody can do it by themselves. Steve's a one-man show of recreation. Heather Blakely, our highway department, has been fantastic in supporting Steve, the Cops and Kids program, but frankly, we need more help.
Actually, there's one other way we didn't. There's obviously the Adopt a Park program, but there's also, if people want to sign up, they can come to your office and be a part of the Recreation Advisory Committee. So that's a team of people that just helps not do my work, but like we meet and we're going to be meeting soon. We haven't set a date yet because we want some more interest and see who's all out there that's willing to put in some ideas and some time to help promote these programs that we have, as well as provide some new ideas for new programming. The basketball program that I just talked about at Morris Street, that's a citizen who wants to do it, and he came to me. And, if you have an idea for a program that you want to see happen, we can try to make that happen, or we can look at ways to make it happen. And being a part of that committee is a great way to do that.
Steve, do you know the phone number for the community center if they wanted to contact you? Do you know it off the top of your head?
Yep, so it's 508-764-6450.
There you go, like me. It's hard to remember numbers these days when you have your instant dial, yeah. No,
sorry, 6459. 6459.
Okay, go give the whole thing one more time.
Let's try that again. I always get my cell phone number and everything mixed up. So 508-764-6459.
There you go. So if you want to call and talk to Steve, if you want to get involved, in the recreation committee and try to create positive events for people in town, that's great. If you want to adopt the park, if you're a business leader out there and you want to step up to the plate and have your business adopt the park, please call my office, call Steve. We're more than happy to work with you. We'd love to have your participation. But most of all, frankly, to all of you that have invested money in our town, who have sponsored a concert, that have sponsored some event in town, we want to say thank you. We really appreciate all that you do. We know you don't have to do it, so it's really important to our community. We love this community. We're all working hard to make it a better place. Again, I want to thank you. I want to thank Steve, and I hope you continue watching Celebrating Southbridge. There'll be more shows to come. It's our effort, the town council's, mine, and the employees here in town, to keep you informed of what's happening here in town so that you understand how your tax dollars are being used. So thank you once again, and we appreciate you joining our show.
Thank you.
Steve, thank you. It was a great show, and I think it'll go a long way to showing people what we do here in town.
Good.
That's good. Goodbye.